Alright, spoiler review for episode 3 of Invincible on Amazon Prime. You have been warned. This is a spoiler review, okay? All spoilers, just like the last two reviews I did for this series. And I'll be doing spoiler reviews for each episode in the series in the coming weeks, every week. So, as long as I'm alive and well. God willing. Speaking of that, I got my vaccine the Pfizer one. Arm is a little sore, but I'm alive and well. I haven't turned into a zombie yet. So let's jump into this review, okay? Now, episode 3 of Invincible opened up with a memorial for the Global Guardians, or the Guardians of the Globe. I don't know if I'll remember which one to call them, but you know who I'm talking about. So that's all that matters. So this episode was so good, so good. I loved it so much. It opened up with the memorial, with a public memorial for the Global Guardians, and then we saw them have a private memorial for the Global Guardians. And at both memorial services, Omni-Man of all people spoke on their behalf, even though he was never really a part of the team. He just assisted them or helped them in the past. And I'm like, the killer always returns to the scene of the crime, right? Or something like that, even though these weren't the scenes of the crime. But still, the killer always goes back, and acts like he's so sorry that the one that he killed is gone. He tries to throw all kinds of suspicion off of himself. But we know what you did, Omni-Man. We all saw it. We can't wait for the world, for your world to know it as well. And I'm still not sure if he's being controlled. Still not sure. I guess we'll find out in episode 4. But in this episode, I'm leaning more towards the fact that he's not being controlled, based off of the little moments we've had of him, just doing certain things that he's done. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So yeah, we started off with the memorial services for the dead heroes, and then we had Omni-Man. When Omni-Man and Debbie came back, and Mark came back from the funeral, from the private funeral services for the heroes, Mark was like, this is really sad, I don't know what to do, and I just can't believe that the Global Guardians are gone, and what if something happens to you, Dad? And Omni-Man was like basically trying to tell him to shut off his feelings, and that he can't go into the field being all up in his feelings like that. He needs to be focused on stopping bad guys. And Debbie was like, don't tell him to shut off his feelings, I don't want him to be like that. He needs to tackle his feelings and head on, and not shove them away somewhere. There's a difference between compartmentalizing and then just actually choosing just not to deal with your feelings, your emotions. All those feelings that you haven't dealt with will be stored up into a closet, like stuffing a bunch of clothes in a closet until the closet just explodes, like on a cartoon, or like on another cartoon, I should say. So it's better to be able to compartmentalize than just like disregarding your feelings and just like trying to move past them without dealing with them. So, and Omni-Man is just like, I don't want to deal with my feelings, and I don't want Mark to deal with his feelings. And Debbie's like, no, Mark needs to deal with his feelings. And Omni-Man is just, he's such a, again, he's still a daddy. I still think he's pretty hot. But he has these moments. He seems like the kind of guy who, if you're friends with him, or if that's like your friend's dad, he's cool to you, but if you work for him, he's a total jerk and you can't stand his guts. He seems like that kind of guy, like a very militant guy who's just really just one way with you when he knows you personally, but then he shows another side of him when you're working for him, especially if you work under him. So yeah, we had all that going on. Omni-Man pretty much trying to get Invincible to be like him, but Invincible's like, no, like I'm not like that. I can't just shut my feelings off like that. And Omni-Man's like, you better learn to, if you don't want to screw up in the field and get killed trying to, because you're just upset and you're all in your feelings. So we had Eve. They showed Eve returning to her headquarters with her team. I don't know what she's doing there. I guess she's just going there just to find her boyfriend Rex. And boy, did she find him, and he wasn't by himself in the least. We saw him come out of the shower, or we saw Eve go into the shower area when she heard someone was in the shower, and Duplicates, or one of Duplicates, she came out of the shower, and Eve was like, have you seen Rex? And then Eve started to sense something was up, that Duplicate wasn't in that shower alone. So Eve went in there, and saw Rex, and Rex came out. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, babe." And Eve was like, "How can you do this to me?" And then another duplicate came out, and another duplicate came out. So Rex is in there having a threesome, or a foursome, I guess, with 3 duplicates. Crazy, just so crazy. Never seen a cartoon do this before. I was like, yes, I'm loving this cartoon so much. It's so adult, and they just really go there with the language, the dialogue, the themes, everything, the scenarios. Loved it so much. So Eve left the headquarters just in tears. She couldn't believe that her boyfriend had cheated on her with 3 of the same girl, of all things. So this totally takes cheating to the next level. But before Eve left, Rex tried to justify his cheating, basically saying that, we all know that you're into Invincible, so don't try to act like, like you don't want to do stuff with him. And Eve's like, what are you talking about? I don't feel anything for him like that. Even if I did, I didn't do anything with him. You just cheated on me with 3 of the same person. So Rex is a total jerk. I love him though. He's a total jerk. A different kind of jerk than Omni-Man. He's a hilarious jerk because the stuff that he says, it's so funny and so outrageous, and he's so arrogant and just so brazen. So yeah, Eve left the headquarters, and then we see the global guardians of the government. They're doing these tryouts for to select new members for their new roster of global guardians. You see all these superheroes try out and just display their powers and fight each other until a select few are picked, or a select handful are picked. And some of those members were Eve, her boyfriend Rex, Duplicate, Robot is in there too, and this young girl named Monster Girl. Loved the interaction between Monster Girl and Rex. Like the stuff she was saying to him, basically saying he was overcompensating because he has such a little dick. I was like, whoa, this little girl is saying this? Like, it's so crazy. And I loved her little backstory too, about how she de-ages every time she pretty much uses her powers. So that's why she can't really train as often as the rest of them, or else she'll just shrink down into like a little baby, within like a few months or something. But she's pretty kick-ass. I love Monster Girl. Love her. And I love what she turns into as well. So yeah, we had the whole Rex versus Monster Girl thing, and then we cut to, the camera cuts up to like the control room of the little what do you call it? The control room above the training area, and you see Omni-Man like looking down on the heroes, like just snarling and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're being controlled anymore. This is just you. You're just kind of crazy. So that was like, And then we cut over to Mark having a date with Amber, and he screwed up the date, because he had to take off. He left Amber in his room all by herself, for like an hour just to go and fight some bad guy, some like crazy scientist bad guy with Avalanche's powers from X-Men. So Eve and Mark took care of that guy, and they kind of bonded. Eve and Mark, they kind of bonded during that whole thing, and you can tell that Eve started to have feelings for Mark, and Mark, you can tell he has feelings for her, but kind of not really. He's still into Amber too, so he goes back to Amber, and they end up making up and making out. And Eve peeks in through his window, and she sees him doing that, and she's a bit downhearted. But she's like, good for you, Mark. Good for you. You can tell Eve is a really good person and a good friend. I really like her. I love her character. I love her. She reminds me of Jean Grey mixed with Star Sapphire. So now we see towards the end, we see the Mauler twins get freed from that prison where all the superheroes are kept, and it is then revealed that Robot and Agent Cecil Stedman they're the ones who released the Mauler twins. Don't really know what they released them for, but it's some kind of sinister plan that they have going on. So, but I guess we'll find out in episode 4 or a future episode. Can't wait to find out what's going on with that. That's why I don't like working for the government, and I don't think I'd ever work for the government, because you never know what they're doing to you, or what they might set you up, how they might set you up, or whatever. So, I'm glad that they sent me a STEMI though. So thank you, Uncle Sam, or should I say thank you, Uncle Joe and Auntie Kamala. All right, now at the very end, we see the guy who Clancy Brown voices. His name is Damien Darkblood. He's like a little demon with a trench coat It kind of reminds me of Hellboy in a way. And I love how everyone senses his presence by breathing. You know, they breathe onto the air and they see their own breath, and the temperature drops significantly in every room. Now, some people who know about him and have dealt with him in the past, whenever they sense it getting cold in there, they're like, "Oh, we know who's here," and they turn around and he's there, and they talk with him. Side notes: I love how ironic it is that when Damien Darkblood, a demon, when he enters into a scene, the temperature drops in the room instead of it rising. It's pretty interesting, pretty ironic. I'm like, he's a demon. Why is he getting colder in here? It should get kind of warm in here. But that's just a little thing that I just really love. Maybe that's not so ironic. But I think it is, yeah. So, but anyways, in this scene we see him meeting Debbie Grayson for the first time, clearly, and she's like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And he's basically like, "Yo, your husband's crazy. Like, do you know what he's done? Like, I believe he killed the Global Guardians. You know, you should ask him what happened to him or what he's been up to. See what he says. You know, don't just take his word for whatever he says. You know, question him." And she's like, "I don't know. I want to believe in him. You know, because he's my husband." And Damien Darkblood's like, "Your husband's a creep." You know, and then like all of a sudden they hear a noise, and Debbie turns around, and then someone turns on the light switch in the kitchen, and it's Nolan, aka Omni-Man. He's like, "Who are you talking to?" And Debbie looks around, and she's like, she doesn't see Damien Darkblood anymore, and she's like, "No one, honey. You know, let's go to sleep." And she walks past him all smiling and stuff, and Omni-Man's like, "Huh? And then he starts to feel the chill in the air, and he sees his breath, and he's like, and you can tell he knows that Damien Darkblood was there. I don't know what their relationship is like. I didn't really see them interact yet, but it's going to be interesting to find out next week. So, yeah, I can't wait to see where the series is going to go. I love how adult it is. I can't get enough of how adult it is, and how people actually get murdered and slaughtered in this thing, like how it is in real life. But you never really see that even in live action films. You know, you see someone get shot, maybe even stabbed, but not like you don't see all these people die so like horribly. You don't see all this like blood and gore everywhere in superhero shows. So thank you, Amazon Prime, and all the people behind Invincible. People like me appreciate your work. I love the writing, I love the animation, love the characters, the world building, the plot, the twist. I love where this has taken us so far, and I'm really excited and looking forward to see where this is going. So, how do you all feel about this series and about episode 3? Share your thoughts down below, and if you'd like to follow me, you can on Instagram at creative_Klaus. And if you like this video, make sure you like this video, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can, and also ring that bell too so that you can get notified whenever I post a new video. Like another review for Invincible for episode 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's probably 8 of them in the season. I don't know yet, but I'm guessing probably 8 to 10 episodes. Whatever we get, I'm sure I'll enjoy it because I enjoy what we got so far. Alright, so now you can check out another video from me right now, and zoom, zap, bam!